Hello and welcome to another SH Figuarts review. Today we take a look at the Infinity War Nebula, and she looks pretty much the same in Endgame. Almost the same. I think she has a plate thing removed, but other than that she looks the same. So Infinity War Nebula. Hence the box is not like white and stuff, so it's not uniform if you're only going to pick one figure to collect for, you know, Marvel and Avengers and MCU and all that, but still. She's a pretty cool character. I look forward to Bandai eventually releasing a Gamora and a Groot, and of course I have pre-ordered Scarlet Witch, and I hope that figure turns out well as well. So let's take a closer look at this figure. So inside the box, aside from the fist already attached to her body, she also has a pair of relaxed hands, a pair of stick holding hands, and a pair of gun holding hands. So you can have her holding her weapon on either side. She does have a head that's looking slightly to her left hand side. The printing on this is pretty decent and looks okay, I guess. And of course she has her stick and pistol. Her head is very easy as they have made an actual peg system. Plug the other head back in, and there you go. Now she's looking slightly to her left. The weapon that comes with her looks like a standard police baton. It's just a single color, just silver. I guess that's good enough, I suppose. Don't know. Just from memory, I don't really pay attention to how the stick looks, but there you go. There's some nice little details on the end right there, and it is molded very sharply. Her pistol is also very simple in terms of color, but again has little bits of details. She does have a functional holster to the side of her leg, so you can stick the pistol in there and keep it safe. Starting from the head, the only area that's actually printed, like some of the other digital face prints, some of the other characters, is the eyes and the pupils. And here, she's a little bit animated. Her eyes are a little bit bigger than I like them to be, like she's been slightly cutesified. And for someone like Nebula, I don't want Nebula to be cute. She knows she's a badass. I'm sure she can be cute like on her off times and stuff. But yeah, not too big of a fan of her eyes being a bit exaggerated on here. It doesn't look bad by any means, but it's one of those things that once you notice, you just can't stop noticing. So if you want something that's perfectly accurate to Nebula in the movie, you're gonna have to, like, I don't know, find another figure or make the eyes a little bit smaller yourself. But But the way her eyes are printed also creates a bit of a contrast with the rest of her face, because everything else is just your regular type of paint, just painted on there. It's painted okay, there's no shadows or anything, especially on her metal plating, which really could do with a quick wash of like black or brown, so I might do that myself in a later date. But some of the other paints and stuff, you know, the lining is fine and it's painted very well. But, yeah, definitely could do with a bit of a wash. Moving on to suit details, the whole thing is very nice matte finish. There's some little like clip details there. And here's a quick look at the back for some of the more jacket details. And you see here the piece that they used to hide the joint also has its own detail molded in. The overpaint job is very flat, it's nice and dark, and I think really looks the part. I like the color of her suit a lot on this figure. The blue on the skin does look a little bit on the bright side, but that's probably because they're just used to seeing her in the dark in the movies. What I don't like about the arm is that these joints are a little bit too obvious. They remind me of like older FlicKr figures where they have a big round circle thing on there that just kind of looks ugly. Especially this one, because this grey really stands out from the rest of this silver plastic. Like, I know they shouldn't paint the joints because, you know, there's a lot of movement there, paint's gonna rub up and stuff, but I wonder if they could have molded a little bit of metallic or glitter into the joint. Same goes with the hand as well, but that's less noticeable because for the most part it's covered. And once again, this whole arm could do with a quick black wash just because it's just a bit too clean and shiny here. While I can still see a lot of the molded details on the lining, it's just, I don't know, it just looks a bit off. Moving down to the hips, you can see that the joints are hidden quite well. And the rest of the legs and boots also have a very nice painted look to it, like the rest of the suit. Tramp stamp printed on the bottom of the shoes. In terms of articulation, she has a double head joint. Quite easy to move around. You can move around a lot. Down, you can see you got the double joint for the shoulders there. A little bit of rotation here, elbow joint there, and hands on a peg and swivel. Body goes up, oops, gets stuck and moves forward. You can do a little bit of a push up, Interesting about this is that this piece here, this stomach piece, is actually made out of a soft plastic and can like sort of squeeze it. So you could force her to crunch a little bit more. So whatever joints that they're using, it's something that goes through the middle of the stomach joint, somewhere inside there, and this piece just sort of floats on top of there. You can even move it without moving the rest of the figure. So that's interesting that they've done that. On the other hand, this pants joint is not soft plastic, it's rock solid, so that's weird. So these legs use a bit of an older joint style. Move up. For the most part, it's hidden quite well until she does the split, and you see the holes and gaps in the joint. So that happens. Rotating joint there. Oh, it's actually no, it's a peg. It's like a ball peg. That's cool. It's got the whole like range there. That's nice. So forward, back, rotating here. This is a softish plastic, so do be mindful when you clip this top bit. There's like this edge on anything. So yep, she's got crazy movement in her feet. That's nice. So let's get a little bit stuck in some places, but okay. Double knee joint. Oh, she's got toe joint, very loose toe joint. Foot goes forward, backwards. Peg, you know, a double peg system. And yeah, she's got very good movement. Overall of this figure, in terms of the molding, it is pretty nice for the most part. The details are pretty spot on. Lots of nice sharp lines all over the place, and you know, her body and head sculpt all look the part. In terms of the paint job, the torso, the nice matte finish contrasting to a little bit of shine here and there, as well as the shine on her robotic arm, is pretty good. As mentioned earlier in the review, I would have really liked there to be a little bit of wash here and there on some of these parts, but of course Figuarts doesn't do that, and adding a wash yourself isn't too hard. In terms of the joints, for the most part they're okay, but they're not perfect. For such a simple shaped character and figure, it is very surprising that I can't even bend her hand up to touch her own face. Her elbows can't bend all the way because they are a single joint and not a double joint. That is a huge bummer. Another joint I have problem with is her feet joint. They just don't rotate too well or move left or right too well, so sometimes it makes it easier for her to fall over, and that can get quite frustrating. Her hips to upper leg joints are quite nice visually, but they can have a tendency to get stuck under certain positions, so do be careful when moving your figure around. Her accessories cover the basics of her weapons as well as having enough hands to use them, so I'm not really going to complain there. In terms of her price, she is a little bit on the more expensive side, being a Tumblr web exclusive, being a Bandai premium item. So of course if you're going to find her on the aftermarket, it's going to cost you a bit. From what I've seen from Hasbro, their Marvel Legends line, the Nebula does look okay for the most part, so if you don't want to pay a high price for this one, the Hasbro one is okay for the most part. But if you want a really highly articulated and just a very nice looking Nebula figure, and you can afford it right now, getting it overseas and paying all the middle fees and stuff, then this is still a pretty nice figure. It's not as nice as... I won't say this figure is as nice as some of the other Marvel stuff, but for what she is, she's pretty decent, and if you can find her for something near her original price, then you can consider it. Anything more than that, then you're better off just getting the cheaper Hasbro stuff. Especially if you're living overseas in the Western countries and all that. Obviously, in terms of Avengers, she isn't the main character, or even Guardians of the Galaxy, she's not part of the main team, at least not in the beginning. So for most people, this might be a skip, or you might be happy enough with just getting the Marvel Legends figure. But for me personally, I really like this character, and I think she has a lot of potential to keep growing in the next Guardians of the Galaxy, so hopefully she returns there, she should be. And the figure itself overall is just pretty solid, so if you're a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, or if you're collecting all of the Avengers, this is an easy recommendation to pick up. As always, you can support this channel by clicking the thumbs up button, or leave a comment below how you think about this figure, and of course share this video with other people who find this interesting or useful. Don't forget to check out the photo shoots in the Facebook and Instagram, and the links below, and of course take care, have a nice day, I'll see you guys soon, bye bye now.